carving station for brisket on the line. So we were, serving on the line. We were supposed to do, just bring out the whole brisket, carve the brisket, serve the brisket. Well, there was a miscommunication with the store.
Welcome to Run of Show, where I go behind the scenes with industry experts to talk about events. This is our first season and we're starting with type stuff. Thank you, Elden, for agreeing to help me out with this and be on the show.
Thanks for having me, Tanya.
We're going to jump straight in and ask you what got you into doing events, because I know you have Sonny's barbecue, but then did you start as the event person or did you move into that?
So I did start as the events person here for Sonny's barbecue. So my technical role is local store marketing, but I also do help with catering sales as well. So they kind of go hand in hand. Doing catering, you're out in the community, you're serving people. So my primary role is store marketing, and so it kind of goes hand in hand with doing a lot of different events.
Okay, and I want to say, the last episode I was talking with Ramona, and I talked you up at the end, and I got your title wrong. I don't remember what I said, but what is your official? Is the chief kindness?
So that is not incorrect. So it's
okay.
Correct. So my role locally with my franchise group is the local store marketing, but I also hold another secondary role with Sonny's corporate as the chief kindness officer.
That's so cool. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. And then you recently took on that new role, and so you're up there in the company now.
Yeah, so I mean, it's kind of like a PR community service type position, kind of helping to oversee some of the corporate give back, and then also to help celebrate employees internally, community members. So it's a great position. Excited to be able to fill that role for the company, for such a long-standing company, and kind of a legacy brand, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, it's a lot of fun. Get to do some really cool things, and who knew you could grow up and be a professional nice guy?
I know, right? And you are so nice. And everybody loves you, and I see you all over social media out there doing great things in the community. And how long have you been with Sonny's Barbecue specifically?
So I've been with Sonny's Barbecue for about 16 months, so just a little over a year. And previous to that, I did marketing for a local butcher shop, and so ran all their social media. So you see me all over social media. It's kind of my wheelhouse in the marketing space is, understanding how social media works and how to get attention and those types of things. So when you're doing events, it's kind of important that, hey, we get people's attention, let them know what event we're doing, and so they kind of go hand in hand.
Right, for sure. So you've kind of always been in that barbecue.
Yeah, so a lot of years I worked for that butcher shop for about 12 years. So I filled a lot of different roles for them, primarily marketing though. But if you're marketing, you got to know the product always.
Right.
So I just knew more about meat than anybody should probably know, and made the transition into Sonny's Barbecue very easy.
Right.
So yeah.
You're a marketing person, but you're out and about. What's your typical day-to-day?
Typical day-to-day, I mean, really it varies by the day. Typically catching up on, orders, make sure catering orders are lined up for the day in the morning, sometimes some early morning appointments, sometimes some podcasts. It just depends on the day. I do some networking groups, so there's a couple mornings where I go to networking groups early in the morning. Kind of depending on what's going on. If I'm doing a community donation, I try to make the delivery myself. That's not technically my job, my boss always says, but sometimes making the donation is only half the equation. It's actually showing up and being a part of the community as well. So that sometimes that kind of gets into the equation. Afternoons depends on if there are events going on. A lot of weekends there's events going on, so I'm pretty much work every weekend. I mean, there's maybe in the 16 months I've had maybe 2 weekends where I've had Saturday and Sunday off, where, normally there's something Saturday or Sunday or Friday night that's going on that has to be done. And that's just part of being in the service hospitality industry. Yeah. That's just part of it. That's when most of the people are off of work. And so when you're doing the service, you're doing the events, that's that's when they're scheduled. So that's just when you have to show up and do what you have to do.
No, do what you have to do, but you love it, right? Because you
I
got to love
do.
it.
I do.
You know, to get up every week.
I do. I have a lot of fun, right? You go to events, and then most of the time, if I'm there, we're doing the food, so you're getting to serve people, and people are enjoying it, and so I really do enjoy getting out, being a part of the community, shaking hands, kissing all the babies. How the old saying goes, but. A couple people are like, "When are you going to run for mayor?" And I'm like, "Yeah, the hard pass. I'll politic for barbecue."
Right. I love that politics for barbecue.
It's pretty benign as far as the political world goes. Most people can get along with some barbecue.
I mean, you're bringing food. I mean, everybody's and everybody loves you. You're so great. I know that when I see Mark Crumble Cookie, I look for that pink truck, and then I look for that Sonny's barbecue truck.
Yeah.
So if I see that, I'm like, I know it's going to be a good event. Not only because you bring good food, but you have that great personality.
Yeah, everybody wants to be good. Be around people with good energy, right? So everybody's got problems, and life is hard, and all things. But when you're out and about, and you want to have a good time, and so you just don't bring that stuff with you. And so you're there to enjoy and be a part of an event that is meant to lift or have a good time, or whatever the scenario may be. Maybe a wedding or a fundraiser, but the intent for most people to be there is to enjoy themselves and have a good time. So that's very important when you are kind of a hub in making an event happen. Foods, 99% of the time, if you have an event, there's going to be food involved some way, shape, or form. And so even if it's just snacks, or desserts, so bringing good energy and making sure everybody is enjoying themselves is as big of a part of the equation, I believe, as having great food.
What's something that you wish people knew before hiring?
I don't know. Really every event is different. I think I wish they knew that there were options. How about that?
Options.
A lot of people just pigeonhole us like, oh, they're pulled pork and mac and cheese and barbecue beans, but we do have a lot of options, and that's what I spend a lot of my time doing. We just had the Sapphire Soiree that you were a part of, and so a lot of those types of events. I do prime rib because a lot of people don't know that we do prime rib. We do so many different things outside of just pulled pork, and that's what I spend a lot of my time trying to do when we're doing community events. I try to show people outside of what is the expectation from Sonny's Barbecue of what some of the other things that we can do as well. So
that's part of it. To know people and what their needs are,
and I spend. I would say I spend a lot of time. Simply could just be like, hey, pulled pork, chicken, whatever. But I really do try to talk to the customer, find out what their event is, what the feel of the event is, and try to match that with what our menu options are. So maybe I actually have one coming up, and barbecue chicken was a hard no, because they were kind of a fancier business meeting, and they didn't want people digging in barbecue all on their fingers. Yeah, so all right, well, no problem at all. We're going to change the menu up and be able to serve you and serve the people that you're serving. To meet them where they're at. And so that's probably the biggest thing. But I wish people would kind of already just know that, hey, we have other options and we don't only just do pulled pork.
I can attest to that because I'm a vegetarian.
Yeah.
And I recently had my ribbon cutting, and you came with the banana pudding and what was it, the cobbler and the tea. And so I had all the snacks and the food. Everybody was happy, and the cobbler went like that.
It was.
So even a vegetarian, you can cater to.
Yeah, and that's something that we do a lot of times, especially when you have a large catering. That's just part of it. You're going to have people who have different dietary needs or dietary requests. So we try to meet those where they're at. Not too long ago, I had a special request to do some tofu. So I was doing a taco bar, so I did tofu, did smoked tofu mushrooms with taco seasoning, and it was just kind of like a hamburger meat. So we really try, and those are one-off and need a little bit of planning, so we can't really do those on a whim, but, it was an event. We had, a month to get ready for it. We knew it was planned. We were able to plan for it. That's not something we do day in and day out, but when you have a special request, our goal is to serve our customer the best possible way. And I was like, yeah, I can probably figure figure that out. So, and they enjoyed it. They really enjoyed it. So, who knows? Maybe one day it'll be on the menu.
Right, who knows?
But,
especially as the West Coast starts to meet the East Coast.
and there's just, people want what they want.
Mm-hmm.
And so as yes, we have our core offerings that we have available in the restaurant day in and day out, but on the catering side, we do have a little bit more flexibility, especially for big events where, hey, there's just different needs, and so we try to meet them where they are.
If you want Sonny's barbecue.
Yeah, why not?
Tell me about a time where an event came together just perfectly.
Oh my goodness. I wish they all came together perfectly, right? I have this conversation with, event planners and organizers all the time. That's what's part of being an expert, right? Because you know the core, the foundation of the things that have to get done. You have a checklist, that, hey, all these things have got to be done at certain times. You got to have all these pieces in place. But there's always the hiccups, right? And the person didn't deliver the tablecloths, or, you left XYZ at the store, or, somebody forgot to get something printed that needed to be in, at the end of the day, what matters most is the overall experience. And so, I wish there was a perfect event. I don't know that I've ever had a perfect event.
I think a perfect event would make me nervous.
Yeah.
Because
what
am I missing?
Yeah, what went wrong that I didn't know?
That I didn't notice, right? That everybody else.
And it's not that it's wrong. It's just, just nothing is ever perfect. And so that's just part of putting on events. That's even part of doing marketing. So much goes into marketing, and everybody wants a perfect formula. Like, I don't want to waste any money. Well, there's no hard line. Like, this is going to give me the perfect return on investment. It's kind of like doing events. There's no perfect event. You just know that you have all these things, and you do as much prep work as you can to have everything lined up and ready to go. And then when it's showtime, it's showtime. You got to go, and you got to go with what you got. And sometimes you have to make a little, to use a football term, make a little audible and make a change, and communicate that to the team. I mean, that's probably the biggest thing is communication. Especially on our side, we're talking with a lot of event coordinators and things like that. So it's just about communicating. Hey, this is what happened. This is what we're going to do. In the big picture, it always works out. Right. In this industry, working in a relationship like that where you're having events and everybody's reputation's on the line, you got, and I think that's part of why I kind of had some success in the event marketing catering space. It's just because I understand that your reputation's on the line as much as my reputation's on the line. And so I work very hard to make sure that we have as many things in place as possible and dot every I, cross every T as much as you can possibly do it. And we have a great team here too, so we have,
Yeah, I've met some of them. And the ones that go to Sapphire Soiree, they did a really great job.
Yeah, and many of them been in with for 10, 15 years. And,
so they gotta love it too.
And they love it, and they've been doing it for a long time. And we do a lot of events. Weddings, corporate events, luncheons. We do quite a few,
And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. People don't notice the things that go wrong that you do.
Yeah.
You're like, oh my
Always
gosh.
overly critical of my stuff. As a unproclaimed perfectionist, always overly critical. And so I say it goes wrong. Reality is not that it went wrong. Like, okay, we had to, make one extra trip into the store to get stuff to the catering day. So I would say wrong. It's not necessarily that anything goes wrong. It's just, the little hiccups, that happen that just, want to drive you crazy when you feel the time crunch, the pressure of the time crunch to get things done because you're trying to meet those deadlines. And so
tell me about a time that things went terribly wrong. I really want a juicy story. Oh my God, I wish I had a do-over on that one.
Yeah, there was one. We were doing a banquet, and we were supposed to do a carving station for brisket on the line. So we were, serving on the line. We were supposed to do, just bring out the whole brisket, carve the brisket, serve the brisket. Well, there was a miscommunication with the store, and they had already carved the brisket. Oh, no. And so we called an audible. They carved the whole brisket, so everything was already cut. And so what we wound up doing, called the audible, right? And so we just went and chopped brisket. And so we took what was already sliced and we chopped it up. then served it from there. So, I wouldn't say it went horribly wrong, but it was, it was stressful for me because I had the expectation, hey, this is what we're doing. We've done it for the previous
plan like that.
So we just had
that's a professional, like, oh my gosh.
Just gotta switch it up and run with it. And, everybody was happy. The product's still great, right? I mean, it's a good product still. Instead of serving sliced brisket, we served chopped brisket. The event person was happy with it. None of the people attending the event had any idea what the difference was. They didn't know what the menu was, so I say it was a problem, but in the big picture, it really wasn't. So there was nothing disastrous. Did a big event for a motorcycle rally, and a couple weeks back, we were supposed to go early and set up. Well, that got delayed because they had so many people. We were supposed to show up at 11. Well, then that got delayed because they had so many people still, trying to go out on the motorcycle rally. So we didn't get on site until 11:30. We had to be ready to serve at 12:30.
Oh gosh.
And so, it was super stressful. We had to move smokers, food trucks, set up tents, set up a VIP tent, all within an hour, and be ready to serve.
Yeah.
Potentially 1,500 people. We wanted to serve a little over 500 officially, but yeah, that was as tight of a scenario for all the moving parts. So that was.
So you gotta know what you're doing.
Yeah, it was. It really was, and we had a very tight space that we were allowed to set up in. So that was really difficult, but it wound up working out too. So I can't think of any time where I've been a part of an event where it just had a complete debacle. Just sometimes you just have to make those little changes and figure out what you can. And I would say probably I did a food truck event, and it was planned for a couple thousand people, and so I was ready to feed probably 600 people, and quickly realized that there were too many food trucks and we weren't going to sell nearly that much. I had to manage the food costs so we didn't lose, or manage the food so we didn't lose any. So we arranged somebody to come back and pick up the food and take it back to the store to, put it back into production. So it's really just about being flexible, understanding that things are going to change, things aren't going to go perfect every time. So you just got to be ready to adapt and serve the customer.
Okay, so I do have a rapid fire
Okay.
round. Okay, so dream venue or event?
Ooh, dream venue. I've gotten to do some really cool ones. I've gotten to cater at the Hilton. I've gotten to cater at the Yacht Club, which are two typically no-nos, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I want to do a really, really big barbecue, big community barbecue here in the Pensacola area. That's one that I want to do. People everywhere, smoke rolling all day long, just all kind of bands, just a good time that people
like a hold
come
down.
out. Maybe.
That's what I'm thinking.
Maybe.
Let's do some square dancing.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is your favorite event trend right now?
Some of the catering space, seeing some like live fire type stuff, where you're seeing some of those types of, grilling tomahawk steaks on the open fire, sampling products, just different pieces, different cuts. Beef ribs kind of gotten to be really popular, and they look really good, and they're a lot of fun, and they seem cool. They're just really expensive, and so a lot of people just don't want to pay $50 for one rib, so.
The fun things are expensive.
Yeah, the fun things are expensive. This is true. Some of that type of stuff, doing that motorcycle rally where you're on site cooking. We did a whole hog. So doing more experiential barbecue,
like
where almost like a show. Yeah, so that's kind of some of the stuff that I'm kind of wanting to do more of, where you kind of not only serve the food, but make an experience out of the service. Where you're talking about almost maybe even like having multiple courses. Like, hey, you bring out the whole hog, or you bring out the beef ribs, and then you have like a talk through about what it was and what it was. So I think some experiential barbecue stuff is kind of some of the things that I'm interested in doing more of. We're really, really good at getting people fed. The largest catering I've been a part of is like 4,600 people.
Wow, that is a lot.
And it is a lot, and it is a lot of work to get that many people fed in 2.5, 3 hours. hours. And it's it takes 25 people, and it's an amazing thing. So we're really good at getting people fed a good quality food product. We think we do a really good job day in, day out with what we do, but I think that experiential barbecue where things are a little more upscale and you're having multiple courses, or you just kind of have an experience versus just eating.
I like that.
So that's kind of, I think that's something that I'm a little bit more, that I'm interested in doing some more of personally. Yeah.
See, you do have a dream. So what's one thing that you bring to every event?
Smiles.
Yeah.
Smiles. A good time. Everybody, like I said earlier in the interview, everybody's there to have a good time.
Yeah.
Everybody.
You're famous for your selfies, so definitely smiles.
Taking a lot of selfies, yeah.
Is there any vendor that you particularly love working with?
We do a lot of stuff with the Wahoos, and they're great. They're a great organization. We've actually sponsored the Wahoos for many years before me. I think since their inception, like 20 years. And so just a great partnership with them. So they're really great to work with. I mean, their team helps us. We do the barbecue for their party decks, and so they're a great vendor to work with.
Tell me, is there a time when the weather just made things a nightmare for you?
Yeah, that motorcycle event, that motorcycle rally, we finished everything, and it just opened up buckets of rain.
Yeah.
And because it was outside, because we had tents set up, because so it made it very difficult. And I just got to the point where I was like, I'm tired of waiting for the rain. So you can find them on LinkedIn. There's a picture of me standing in the rain, arms wide open, after we finished putting everything up, because I was over waiting for the rain. I mean, everything was done. We packaged up what needed to be packaged up, and got it protected, and just finished up and wrapped up. So that was probably that was probably the worst experience with the weather that I think I've had. Most of the other time, I can't think of any other issues, but that one, it definitely put a damper on the cleanup and the breakdown of everything.
So give me a famous quote. This is something that people can remember you by.
So this is something that I've been working on and been thinking about, trying to really use this as kind of the cornerstone of what it is that we're doing and how we serve people, and it's everything tastes better with hospitality.
Oh, I like that. Everything tastes better with hospitality.
Because the service makes the experience, and yes, you have good quality food and a great product, but the hospitality, the caring for the person, it's like mama's cooking. Mama's cooking maybe wasn't always the best, but it was made with love, and so you have all these fond memories that are attached to the food. It's not like she was cooking 5-star chef meals or Michelin star rated meals, but it was the hospitality, it was the love, it was the care that made that food so much better. So yeah, mine is too, and I get it honest, but everything tastes better with hospitality.
I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And this
you.
is going to be on all the places where you listen to podcasts: Apple Music, Spotify, Pandora, YouTube, all of those good things. So everybody else, tune in to wherever you listen to podcasts, and thank you so much, Elden, for joining me.
Thanks for having me, Tanya.